In today's news, the government has launched a public service compensation review, and the concept of suspending the Constitution should be abandoned, says Premier. And the new Jury Act addresses needs for a wider, more diverse jury pool in the BVI, and a genuine misunderstanding resulted in some of the concerns raised in the governor's quarterly review, says Premier. Viewers, these and more stories when 284 News return.
Introducing a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. It doesn't always involve suits and bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons. I'm taking you outside in the field to share the journey of some of the BVI's the best and brightest men. From East End to West End, Virgin Gorda to Jos Van Dyke, not forgetting Anegada. Our Virgin Islands gentlemen are doing the damn thing. We are the movers and shakers of this generation. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman. Season 4 by yours truly, Ron Grant. Raising a generation of greatness. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. on 284 Media.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Welcome viewers to the Monday, October 10th edition of 284 News. I am Kamal Haynes, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. I want to thank you so much for joining us. While leading today's newscast, officials gathered for the launch of the Public Service Compensation Review earlier this morning, which was held to commemorate the contract that was awarded to Trinidad-based consultancy firm PricewaterhouseCoopers Advisory Services Limited. PwC will be responsible for executing a comprehensive review of compensation throughout the public service of the Virgin Islands. Well, the goal of the consultancy is said to be to address remuneration disparity, to further support the retention, engagement, and motivation of skilled and competent public officers, to effectively deliver public service, and to support a move to a total reward scheme that promotes high performances. Well, speakers included Governor of the Virgin Islands, His Excellency John Rankin, Premier and Minister of Finance Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, Deputy Governor Mr. David Archer Jr., Financial Secretary Mr. Jeremiah Frett, Director of Human Resources Ms. Kaisa Penn, President of the Civil Service Association Ms. Sasha Flats, President of the Teachers Union Ms. Tammy Henry, and President of the Police Welfare Association Mr. Sean McCall. Well, Governor Rankin spoke about the importance of public officers to the territory.
The public service and public servants are important. Teachers, police officers, sanitation workers, to take just 3 examples, are vital to ensuring the safety, development and growth of these Virgin Islands in which we live. So as Governor, I am committed to supporting a top-class public service, a public service consisting of well-trained, highly skilled and motivated officers who deliver an effective service to the public as a whole. In order to achieve that goal, it's self-evident that we need a properly paid public service with compensation levels designed to recruit, retain and reward those whom we need in the modern world in which we live. And I believe that means a compensation system that focuses on the competencies required for the relevant job, not just the particular position, title or grade. And we also need a system that recognises the importance of technical and specialist skills beyond the administrative skills we have traditionally valued, important those skills also are. Like any other employer, we also have to focus on the total reward scheme beyond base pay. And I firmly believe in the need to move towards a system of pay and bonuses which rewards those individuals who perform at the highest levels, rather than simply having the same level of annual reward for all staff across the board, irrespective of performance.
Well, Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley put into perspective the background and long road to which this milestone has arrived.
Last comprehensive salary review was in 2002 under the Ralph T. O'Neill administration. Industry standard dictates that we conduct these reviews every 3 to 5 years at minimum. So we are way behind. The Virgin Islands has changed very much in 20 years. The demands have become greater. Some of our main economic drivers need enhanced support. The population served by the public service has grown massively. The work has become more complex. And we must also mention the technological revolution, which has given us great potential for efficiency, which can allow public officers to shift focus in some instances. We must also mention our robust reform agenda, which is demanding. Many persons would have thought that this was some gimmick to fool our public officers. They felt that this would be a cabinet decision that we would not follow through on. Nothing could be further from the truth. A couple of weeks ago when I signed the contract for the successful company to conduct the review, PricewaterhouseCoopers, it cemented our commitment to ensuring that our public officers will be properly compensated for the highly significant roles they perform. Some say we cannot afford to compensate public officers what they are worth. To them I say, we cannot afford not to compensate them what they are worth. Every month, we lose a high-quality public officer to the private sector, or even to the United States, Canada, or the United Kingdom. In order to retain the best talent, we have to provide fair compensation and benefits.
But meanwhile, Deputy Governor David Archer Jr. shared just how important the compensation review is to allow persons an enjoyable standard of living.
I'm not sure if you can recall your first days of school, maybe primary school, elementary school, where you dressed up, maybe in a uniform or not, but the socks were pulled up tightly, and you had your lunch kit and your lunch box. And as you proceeded throughout your career in school, that is, someone told you one day, we would love for you to work for the government of the Virgin Islands. And you were eager, and you got all A's, sometimes B's, like me, C's sometimes, most times. And then you made your way through high school, and you may have been the Val or the Sal or had great grades. Went off to university, and you did extremely well. Then you came home to work for the government of the Virgin Islands. And you had ideas about an apartment, a car, food on the weekends, and a great lifestyle. And the Director of Human Resources said your entry-level compensation as you start will be $28,818. Immediately you looked out the window and figured out it could be too high for me to jump, or I might not make my way to the bottom. Because when I take that number of 28,818 and I add a possible apartment to it, transportation of meager means, food sometimes, clothing if you wish, I'm at a negative $1,697. Am I proud about this? I'm not proud. However, a young professional about 30 years old led the 2002 compensation review. That was me. A lot shorter, no, a lot slimmer, but had great ideas, and I made a commitment, and every 3 to 5 years we'll review salaries, and we will make sure that we keep abreast of compensation. But some realities hit: 2008 economic crisis, the hurricanes in 2017, COVID-19, and we waited and waited 20 years later to get to this point.
Moving on, viewers, where Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley has reiterated his sheer opposition of the concept of suspending a country's constitution.
Let me just speak about the whole concept of suspending someone's constitution. I don't agree with it in any way, shape, or form. I do not agree with the United Kingdom or any other government suspending another group's constitution. It's fundamentally undemocratic. The whole concept of suspending a constitution is a flawed concept that the United Kingdom, in my view, should abandon.
Well, at the time of his comment, Premier Wheatley was fielding questions from the press surrounding the possibility that issues raised in His Excellency Governor John Rankin's first quarterly review to the United Kingdom on the implementation of the COI recommendations could prompt a suspension of the BVI's constitution. But while Wheatley did not say that such an outcome was likely in this instance, he asserted that the issue of constitutional suspension remains a major concern.
I think everybody should be worried about the concept of our Constitution being suspended, because of course it is it's a reality. Okay, the Ordering Council is there. There was a recommendation from Sir Gary Hickenbottom that our Constitution be suspended. The concept has not been completely abandoned. Everybody should be concerned about it. But what we cannot do, Zan, we cannot be implementing reforms based on coercion or force. That's something I reject completely.
Well, despite this, Wheatley argued that suspending a country's constitution is unlikely to have the desired effect, as ultimately it will come into the hands of the people of the Virgin Islands to handle their own affairs.
As I said in my statement, you can't impose democracy on someone. Even if you suspend the Constitution, the people still have to live here, and we still have to deal with our own affairs. When you suspend the Constitution, at some point you'll have to implement a Constitution, and you still have to deal with the people. The people will have a right at some point, just like in Turks and Caicos, to elect a government. And this government will have the power to make laws and amend laws. And the government will have to do so in collaboration with the people who have elected them and the people they represent.
Well, up next, viewers, the new Jury Act addresses need for a wider, more diverse jury pool in the BVI. And Premier believes that a genuine misunderstanding resulted in some of the concerns raised in the Governor's quarterly review. But these and more stories after a word from our sponsors.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
Welcome back, viewers. Well, High Court Registrar Vereen Vanterpool-Nibs believes that the decision to expand the eligibility pool for jurors in the territory was an important move to ensure the continuity of fair court proceedings. Well, this, she explained, is accomplished by the mitigating issue of jurors having to be stood aside due to their close connection to persons in the trial.
That has been important because there have been a couple of cases where a number of the jurors selected had to be stood aside given their close connection to persons in the trial itself. So by enabling a more diverse panel, the hope is that in any term, you'd be able to get through successfully your criminal trials with the selected jurors. And in fact, persons will feel that justice would be served in that the selection of persons on the jury pool would be fair, objective, and so forth.
While Vanterpool Nib said that the need for a wider, more diverse jury pool has been one of the great concerns that have been repeatedly voiced in the relevant circles, as the territory was no longer at a stage where the selection of jurors from solely the voters list would suffice.
One of the great concerns that has been coming up time and time again is that perhaps there had come a time in where we are in the territory to have a more diverse jury pool and not one simply seemingly confined to just coming from the voters list. So this bill in particular focuses on creating a wider diverse pool.
Well, viewers, in the Commission of Inquiry report, it was shared that the Commissioner of Police had expressed concerns about the jury system and the size of the jury pool. He was quoted as saying that the current system, and I quote, creates a big issue when all parties are known to each other, and historically justice will not be bestowed on a fellow belonger, instilling a feeling of omnipotence for the few, end quote. Well, in the previous legislation, only belongers between the ages of 21 and 60 who had lived in the territory for at least 10 years, had no previous convictions, and were not members of the House of Assembly were eligible to be jurors. Well, this requirement list was noted to, in effect, significantly restrict the size of the jury pool. Recommendation B43 of the COI report advised that consideration be given to increasing the size of the pool of jurors by changing the criteria to enable those who are long-term residents to sit on juries. Well, under the new bill, the Jury Act 2022, an eligible juror is described as a person between the ages of 18 and 70 who is a belonger, holds a certificate of residence under Section 18 of the Immigration and Passport Act, Revised Edition 2013, is listed on the Register of Voters prepared under Section 23 of the Elections Act Revised Edition 2013, or had been ordinarily resident in the territory for at least 10 years. Well, these new considerations were lauded by the registrar. Well, moving on, viewers, where Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley has said that he is of the opinion that the issues highlighted by the governor in his recently published quarterly review report came from a genuine place of misunderstanding. Well, the Premier made a comment during a press conference on Friday, October 7th, as he responded to the criticisms issued by His Excellency Governor John Rankin in the report. But he said upon taking a look at the document and discovering what was said on some of the topics, he proceeded to call a meeting with the governor to discuss the respective issues.
It is important to acknowledge that we have a partnership with the United Kingdom. It has been described as a modern partnership. We value the relationship we have with the United Kingdom, government and its people, and we believe that having a good relationship is in the best interest of the people of the Virgin Islands. For this partnership to be successful, it must be based on mutual respect, understanding, and a shared commitment to democratic principles. In any partnership or friendship, there will be disagreements and misunderstandings. It is important that we deal with them maturely and in such a way that strengthens the partnership rather than eroding the partnership. In terms of the concerns he highlighted, my ministerial colleagues and I have had an opportunity to engage the governor to properly understand the source of his concerns. After a thorough discussion, I believe there is a genuine misunderstanding on the particular issues which we unfortunately did not have an opportunity to discuss and clarify before publication of the governor's report.
While Premier Wheatley also made it clear that his government was not the only party guilty of missing deadlines, adding that the governor also did miss a number of deadlines.
We were very ambitious in our commitments, and unfortunately, deadlines have been missed. It is important to note that deadlines have been missed on the governor's side as well as on the side of cabinet. In all instances, these deadlines have been missed for good reason. For instance, we have insisted that the Jury Act and the Register of Interest Act, both which fall under the governor's group's responsibilities, receive proper consultation as opposed to being rushed through the legislative process. We understand that this is not to be a box-ticking exercise, but a real effort for real and sustained change. And this is not something that should be rushed. It is important to acknowledge, however, we are heading in the right direction.
In the meantime, Premier Wheatley also indicated that his government has either commenced or completed at least 94% of the reforms which were set out in their framework.
We have made substantial progress, but there's much more work to do to get the job done. By the end of August, 94% of the recommendations were either completed or were in the progress of being completed. I'll repeat that. By the end of August, 94% of the recommendations were either completed or were in the progress or were in progress of being completed. We have worked hard, and I would like to thank all the hard-working public servants, reviewers, ministers, and legislators for all their hard work thus far.
Well, up next, viewers, we hear about the World Mental Health Day 2022 Silly Hat Parade, and U.S. President pardons all federal offenses of simple marijuana possession. We get to those stories when 284 News return.
There's a reason you get up on a morning. A reason you pick yourself up, start the day. Maybe it's sheer grit. Maybe it's your ethics. Maybe it's because you know people like you are waiting for people just like you. We all have our reasons, and for Republic Bank, that reason is you. Every little thing, every big thing. It's all about making a difference in your life. Because after 182 years, if it's one thing we're sure about, is that the difference is you. We're here to help.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Welcome back, viewers. Well, the Director of Community Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, along with staff, students, civil servants, and residents, this morning, October 10th, participated in a Silly Hat Parade in observance of Mental Health Awareness Day 2022 under the theme, Make Mental Health and Wellness for All a Global Priority. Our Ron Grant has that story.
The Director of Community Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, along with staff, students, civil servants, and residents this morning, October 10th, participated in a Silly Hat Parade in observance of Mental Health Awareness Day 2022 under the theme, Make Mental Health and Wellness for All a Global Priority. The Hat Parade was just one of many activities planned in promoting awareness, conveying the importance of having good mental health, and to end stigma and discrimination that is so prevalent. The Hat Parade began at the Old Festival Grounds and ended at the Norloyd Positive Action Movement Park. Members of the Community Mental Health and Substance Abuse spoke about the day's event and its importance in our society in addressing mental health.
Hi, good morning. My name is Kimberly Fraser.
Hi, good morning. My name is Shani K. James.
Good morning. My name is Mara Dean, and we're here from Community Mental Health, and we're celebrating World Mental Health Day, which is celebrated annually on October 10th. And today we are using a Silly Hat Parade to bring awareness to World Mental Health Day. This is our first annual Silly Hat Parade. Usually we just have the Silly Hat competition, but today we're going to take it to the streets and encourage all persons in the Virgin Islands to become more aware of World Mental Health Day.
As the team say, make mental health, make ensuring mental health and well-being for all become a global priority. That is something that we want to strive and aspire for in the BVI, and to just spread awareness to everyone that your mental health goes hand in hand just as your physical health, and you should take part in taking part of your mental health.
Okay, so this year we try to involve the schools as much as possible into our Silly Hats Parade. We're trying to start from an early age, letting them know that their mental health is very important. So this year we invited them to come out, wear their silly hats, and take part in this awareness to end stigma for mental health. And we're also having a competition with those who wear the silliest hat and post it on the BVI HSA Facebook page. You have a chance to win a prize. So this year we're taking it out in the roads to decrease the stigma awareness behind mental health.
The team at Community Mental Health and Substance Abuse say they are focused on educating and sensitizing Virgin Islanders and residents of all ages on mental health wellness and highlighting the territory's responsibility to those who require support and assistance. Reporting for 284 News, I'm Ron Grant.
Well, thank you, Ron. Well, viewers, United States President Joe Biden has announced major plans towards decriminalizing marijuana in the United States as he pardoned all prior federal offenses of simple marijuana possession on Thursday. Well, Biden's decision to decriminalize marijuana and pardon offenders is estimated to impact thousands of Americans who are charged with the offense. Take a listen.
No one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities. And that's before you address the racial disparities around who suffers the consequences. While white and black and brown people use marijuana at similar rates, black and brown people are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates. So today, I'm taking 3 steps to end this failed approach. First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana. There are thousands of people who are convicted for marijuana possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result of that conviction. My pardon will remove this burden on them.
Well, during the announcement, President Biden also encouraged governors to take similar steps to pardon state simple marijuana possession charges. He said he will task the Department of Health and Human Services and Attorney General Merrick Garland to expeditiously review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law, which would ease the federal classification for the drug, which presently is in the same category as heroin and LSD.
I'm calling on all governors to do the same for state marijuana possession offenses. Third, the federal government currently classifies marijuana as a Schedule I substance, the same as heroin and LSD, and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. So I'm asking the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Attorney General to initiate a process to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. Even as federal and local regulations of marijuana change, important limitations on trafficking, marketing, and underage sales should stay in place. Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. It's time that we right these wrongs.
Our viewers, that's it for today's News Roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Bye-bye.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?